The World of Warcraft incident. In 2005, a 28-year-old man in South Korea, identified as Kim, spent nearly 50 hours continuously playing World of Warcraft at a local internet cafe in Seoul. He was participating in a guild raid designed to acquire rare loot, consuming only caffeinated beverages and instant noodles. By the 40th hour, he exhibited extreme paleness, excessive sweating, and minor tremors, but continued playing. Staff initially assumed fatigue, but after he attempted to stand during a brief break, he collapsed. Emergency responders confirmed cardiac arrest caused by acute exhaustion and severe dehydration. Medical reports indicated elevated heart rate, electrolyte imbalance, and early signs of thrombosis, all contributing to the fatal outcome. This incident prompted South Korean authorities to implement safety guidelines in PC bangs, including mandatory breaks and time limits for players. The League of Legends incident. In 2012, a 20-year-old man named Wei was found deceased in a Taipei internet cafe after playing League of Legends for approximately 23 hours non-stop. Witnesses reported that Wei consumed sugary drinks and snacks, but avoided leaving his station for restroom or rest breaks. During the final hours, he experienced severe chest pain, dizziness, and occasional blurred vision, which he ignored. Hospital autopsy later revealed acute myocardial infarction exacerbated by extreme fatigue and sleep deprivation. Blood tests showed significant dehydration, elevated cortisol, and high levels of lactic acid, indicating prolonged physical and psychological stress. Taiwanese media widely reported this incident, citing it as a cautionary example of extreme gaming behavior. The StarCraft incident. StarCraft's competitive scene in South Korea has a long history of marathon gaming, but in 2005, a 30-year-old man named Lee pushed the limits too far. Over a span of 72 hours, Lee played at an internet cafe in Daegu, participating in ladder matches with only brief pauses for snacks. Witnesses described him as pale, unresponsive at times, and showing early signs of dehydration, including dry lips and sunken eyes. On the third day, he collapsed suddenly during a match. The Diablo III incident. When Diablo III launched in 2012, excitement was intense, and in Taiwan, an 18-year-old male rented a private room at a local gaming cafe to play. Over 40 hours, he participated in continuous dungeon runs and boss fights. Staff noticed he consumed minimal food and only a few energy drinks. In the early hours of the second day, he slumped over his desk. Emergency services confirmed death on site. Fellow players reportedly continued gaming around him for hours, highlighting the normalization of marathon sessions in competitive gaming culture at the time. The Dota 2 incident. In early 2015, a 26-year-old Filipino man named Arnel was preparing for an upcoming amateur Dota 2 tournament in Manila. The local gaming cafe where he practiced stayed open around the clock, and regulars often competed through the night to sharpen their reflexes and team coordination. For several days leading up to the event, Arnel spent nearly every evening there, surviving mostly on instant noodles and energy drinks. On the night before the tournament, he arrived just after dusk and joined friends for what was meant to be a final practice run. The matches stretched past midnight, and fatigue began to show. Witnesses said that Arnold started sweating heavily and occasionally pressed his hand to his chest but refused to stop, saying he only needed a few more games before calling it a night. Around dawn, he slumped forward on his keyboard and fell from his chair. Staff members and friends tried to revive him while emergency services were called. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but Arnel was pronounced dead at the scene. The Counter-Strike incident. In 2010, a 17-year-old Russian teenager named Rustam began what he described to his friends as a short weekend gaming session of Counter-Strike. He set up in his bedroom on a Friday evening, equipped with energy drinks, chips, and instant noodles. His computer desk was positioned against the wall, and his family recalled that once he started, the blinds were closed and the room remained dark, except for the blue glow of the monitor. Through the night, his parents occasionally checked on him. They noticed that his eyes appeared strained, and his face had grown noticeably pale. He insisted he was fine and continued to play match after match. On the second day, his friends later reported that his voice on the microphone sounded hoarse and slow, and he repeatedly asked them to wait, just one more round. Family members said he barely spoke when they entered his room, acknowledging them only with nods. He left the desk only for quick bathroom trips that never lasted longer than a few minutes. By the second night, Rustam was visibly trembling. His hands shook as he held the mouse, and his speech over the microphone was slurred. Online teammates recalled that he paused at odd moments, sounding disoriented, but then continued playing as if unwilling to stop. Early the next morning, his relatives heard a heavy thump and rushed in. They found him lying on the floor beside his chair, still gripping the computer mouse. Emergency services were summoned, but despite immediate attempts to revive him, he was declared dead at the scene. The EverQuest incident. In November 2002, 21-year-old Sean Woolley from Wisconsin began a long weekend dedicated to EverQuest, an online multiplayer role-playing game. Woolley lived alone in an apartment, and neighbors later recalled seeing him return home on Friday with bags of groceries and cases of soda. He locked the door and did not leave again. Over the following 30 hours, Woolley participated in raids and quests with his online group. Friends who played with him noted that he rarely left the game lobby, only disappearing for a few minutes before reappearing at his computer. During the session, he complained to other players about dizziness and blurred vision. His mother later said he had struggled with long gaming hours before and that he often skipped proper meals, surviving instead on snacks and caffeinated drinks. At one point, Woolley logged off briefly, but he soon re-entered the game late at night. His friends observed that his responses in chat grew slower, until eventually his character went idle. When repeated messages went unanswered, they assumed he had fallen asleep. Concern grew when his mother was unable to reach him by phone the next day. She contacted authorities, who entered the apartment and discovered Woolley collapsed near his computer desk. The Minecraft incident. In the United Kingdom, a 15-year-old boy named Oliver began a project inside Minecraft that he described to friends as his largest build yet. According to classmates, he had spent weeks planning the construction and was determined to complete it over the course of a school holiday. For 5 consecutive days, Oliver remained in front of his computer, eating only snacks left outside his room and drinking soda to stay awake. Family members later told reporters that his sleep consisted of brief naps of less than an hour, often with his headset still on. His friends who communicated with him online said that by the 4th day, his speech sounded confused, and he repeated himself during conversations. Despite their suggestions to rest, he continued to add to his project. On the 5th night, Oliver's activity in the game suddenly stopped. Friends noticed his avatar standing still and believed he had fallen asleep. When his family entered the room the next morning, they found him slumped forward in his chair. The computer was still running Minecraft, and the unfinished project filled the screen. Emergency services were called, but he was pronounced dead before reaching the hospital. The Fortnite incident. In 2019, a 14-year-old boy in the United Kingdom spent an entire weekend engaged in back-to-back Fortnite sessions. He began late on a Friday evening and continued into the early morning hours. Friends who played with him online later recalled that he stayed in the same chair for hours, refusing to take breaks even when matches ended. By Saturday, his family noticed that he had skipped meals and was surviving only on energy drinks stacked beside his desk. The room remained dark, illuminated only by the glow of his monitor. His younger brother reported that the boy complained of headaches and blurred vision, but insisted on finishing another match. By Sunday evening, he was visibly pale and perspiring, but he continued playing. That night, a sudden noise was heard from his room. Relatives entered and found him lying on the floor beside his chair. The game lobby was still open on the screen, and the room was overheated, cluttered with empty cans. Paramedics arrived quickly, but were unable to revive him. The Call of Duty incident. In August 2012, a 15-year-old boy from Ohio began what turned into a 4-day marathon of Call of Duty. His parents reported that on the first day, he played for nearly 20 hours straight, taking only brief pauses to grab snacks. By the second and third days, his playing time extended beyond a full 24 hours at a stretch. Relatives described the living room, where he had set up his console, as increasingly messy, with cans, wrappers, and bottles scattered around the floor. Family members repeatedly urged him to stop, but he insisted on continuing, telling them he was close to finishing another online campaign. By the morning of the 4th day, his skin appeared pale, and his speech had slowed. Friends online noted that he sounded distracted and occasionally stopped mid-sentence before continuing to play. That afternoon, as he leaned forward during another match, he suddenly collapsed.